Okay, on behalf of the Historic Preservation Commission, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Our first item on the agenda is a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. We appreciate everyone being here today, especially since this is a makeup meeting. Next on the agenda is reading of our historic preamble. Mr. Brown?
The City of Staunton Historic Preservation Commission consists of 5 volunteer. The commission is responsible for issuing or denying certificates of appropriateness for any material change in appearance of contributing and non-contributories within the historic districts, with the exceptions of ordinary maintenance and repair items listed in the zoning ordinance. The purposes for establishing a special historic preservation ordinance are to preserve and improve the quality of life for residents of the city, to promote tourism and investment and business growth, to stabilize and improve property values, to educate residents on local cultural and historic heritage, to promote local historic preservation efforts, to prevent the encroachment of additions or new buildings and structures which are architecturally incongruous with their environs, recognize and develop the historic areas as integral parts of the city. For more information, please refer to H1 Historic Preservation District, an ordinance of the zoning code of the city of Staunton, Virginia.
Okay, thank you. Our next item on the agenda is approval of the February 24th meeting minutes. The minutes have been circulated in draft form. Are there any additions or corrections? Okay, being none, do we have a motion for approval?
I move that we accept the February 24, 2026 minutes as provided.
Do we have a second? Great. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor of approval of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Minutes are approved. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is review of new business. And we have a motion to change the order of business slightly.
I move to amend the agenda and consider item 6-A now before considering any new business.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Great. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 And we wanted to do that to accommodate the owners at 815 West Beverly. They have another appointment they need to get to. So we will go to item number 6, old business, a certificate of appropriateness for 815 West Beverly Street. And I believe we have the owners joining us online. If you could please briefly state your names and your application request.
Yes, my name is Tim Fontaine, and our application was to put solar panels on our house.
Hi, I'm Kate Van Slyke.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll ask Mr. Strassler if he would like to recap his recommendation.
Yes, just in basic terms, the majority of locations on the house were not visible from the street, and especially on the garage and the rear sections of the house. There was one potential section on the west side of the house that may be visible. But according to the guidelines, solar panels are perfectly acceptable. Again, I'm paraphrasing. However, the inference is that they should not be visible.
Okay.
But we have looked at other installations, and we have partial visibility on some that have been approved.
Okay. And the location here, we have the photos up behind us. Just to clarify, the solar panels are going on the back L of the house. Is that correct?
Yeah, the back, okay, when you say L.
The back addition, section, I guess, might be better.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. It's the drawing on the, yeah. Okay. So Mr. Strassler recommends approval based on our guidelines. Commission members, do you have any questions for the applicant? Okay, do we have a motion?
Yes. I move for the approval of the certificate of appropriateness for installation solar panels on the house rear roof slopes and garage roof. This majority of the proposed installation appears not to be visible from Beverly or Jefferson Streets. No panels or associated equipment will be installed that will obscure character-defining features and are be clearly viewed from a public street. A, should be placed in locations with limited or no visibility on a secondary roof slope or rear addition. B, should be installed in a manner that limits their impact on historic materials and features of the building. C, should be set back from the edge of the roof to limit visibility. D, should be compatible with the color of the existing roof in order to blend this new roof element with the existing roof as much as possible. And just to cite the Secretary of the Interior's guideline, roofs as recommended. And yes, that's it.
Okay, motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Right, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Okay, thank you so much for accommodating us today and best of luck.
And
Thanks so
thank you
much.
for the adjustment in the schedule to let us participate. We really appreciate it.
Certainly, thank you. All right, so now we will return to new business. And our next item, our first item under new business is a certificate of appropriateness for 116 North Madison Street. June Franks and Sally Berger. Is there someone here? If you would come to the podium, please, and state your name and address and just give us an overview of your project application.
Sally Berger, 116 North Madison Street. Nothing's really different from the original application plus the amendment that I submitted last week. It's basically a replacing metal shingle roof with a traditional standing seam metal roof. It's replacing the metal half-round gutters with similar new metal 5-inch half-round gutters. The amendment concerned the wooden areas at the bottom of the front gable across the stretch there, as well as a gable on the left-hand side of the house where there are 2 cornice areas that are wooden. We were originally on board with replacing with wooden, as I talked with Frank several months ago about it. And then our heads got kind of turned around about that, but we're back. And so we're on board with replacing the wooden. They're actually shakes now, probably inappropriately, with wooden shingles, Western red cedar shingles, roof shingles,
Okay,
to emulate as much as possible, the design and of the yellow wooden wall shingles that are adjacent.
all right. Mr. Strassler, would you like to comment on your review?
As typical with the embossed metal shingle roofs, you've seen in my review as what we've been dealing with for the last 5 years or so, is that the product, while it is available, is inordinately expensive for the owners to be able to replace. Staunton has a large collection of standing seam metal roofs of the same period. That with this house and some others, there are certainly, while it's at Queen Anne, there's certainly influences. There are some shingle style and shingle texture with those gables as well as even though it's not wood, the embossed metal shingle roof. I felt it was appropriate that they really should be replacing those shakes with a sawn shingle that is of the same size and pattern as above. And the challenge with modern roofing is that we tend to put solid sheathing with tar paper or some sort of restrictive barrier, and then attempt to nail a wooden roof onto it. And invariably, it fails very quickly because wooden shingle or shake roofs are intended to be able to put on skip sheathing with full air flowing underneath them in order for them to dry evenly. And with a modern application, that doesn't work. And so that's why I was encouraging the air gap below the shingles, and then the shingles of appropriate size, scale, and of a #1 grade Western red cedar.
Okay. All right. And you're okay with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Commission members, do you have any questions? Comments? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll move for approval of the certificate of appropriateness for the installation of traditionally detailed standing seam metal roof for this. The motion is based on the local guidelines stating one of the most important elements of a structure, the roof serves as a cover to protect the building from the elements. Good roof maintenance is absolutely critical for roofs preservation, for the preservation of the rest of the structure. Citing guidelines for existing buildings, elements J, roof, 8, 10, and 12. All chimneys are to be retained and properly flashed using step flashing set into mortar joints, not cut into the brick. New roof will not incorporate visible ridge vents or caps on the hips or ridges. Panel will be flat without corrugations. The new roof will not be a snap block with wide V-shaped seams, and it will utilize a 1-inch folded seam and will appear as a closed, locked, and folded seam. The wooden shakes on the, we'll replace the wooden shakes on the gable flare and return cornices with #1 grade Western red cedar shingles with an air gap to be commensurate in size and design with the gable wall shingles above.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further questions or discussion? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And chair votes aye. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck.
I just wanted to say, one thing we found really interesting, we did not know, was about the original wooden shingle roofs in Staunton. And ours was, one of many. And that was just, really interesting. I like to picture the town back then when they were all wooden roofs. Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Best of luck with your roof.
Thank you.
All right. Get back down here to the next applicant. All right. Our next item on the agenda is a certificate of appropriateness for Trinity Church. And Mr. Frazier's here. If you would tell us a little bit about the application.
Well, good afternoon, members of the commission. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. As a member of Trinity Episcopal Church, I'm a manager of a current grant we received from the Virginia Department of Historic Resources called a VA 250 grant in honor of the bicentennial. And part of the criteria of those grants were that the projects relate to improving visibility, handicap access, signage, in order to encourage more visitors to come to the sites during this period of our celebration. And since Trinity has significant connections to the American Revolution, with the Virginia General Assembly meeting there in the 1780s, and before that with the several members of the vestry and the rector drafting up Augusta Resolves, which was later commented by George Washington as the folks of Augusta County give me hope in these dark hours of despair. And that was written in 1770, I think it's about 1776. when they gathered at a tavern in downtown Staunton. So those are the reasons why we're celebrating this at our church. And in the process, in order to achieve better accessibility, we already installed a handicap bathroom, the first bathroom in the church. And then we looked at a number of locations to do a ramp. We've had a lot of our congregation is older and is, while not maybe being in a wheelchair, they may have to use a walker or cane. And the current earlier ramps did not meet ADA because they're steeper and they have sharper curves. And there were considerable complaints by the older members of the congregation and a large lobbying group that we needed better ramp. We retained Balzer Associates to design several ramp locations. And before that, a landscape architect earlier. And unfortunately, those were not practical because we had to change elevations of the side lawn and also create new contours. And we have to get trucks onto the site monthly almost for various maintenance and for bringing lifts inside the church to change light bulbs and repair sound systems and so forth. It's a very tall ceiling in the church. So after looking at a number of ramp locations, we met with the assistant building official, and he and I toured, and I showed him all the possibilities. And he and I agreed the best one was to come in on the corner of Church Street and Beverly Street, just around the corner from the front. If you're looking at this drawing, you can see the front is the Beverly Street is below and Church is on the right side. So we're taking a path between trees, and more importantly, where there are no graves that we found in ground penetrating radar, which was required by DHR. And also we have to have Rivanna archaeology on site when we make any of these excavations for this ramp. So they'll be monitoring all of this. We are in the ground penetrating radar, we found the 1763 church foundation, as you can see there. So we're avoiding that. It's the foundation has 3 feet wide of brick, and then it goes up to 1.5 feet. It's about 3 feet underground. And we look forward to some minor archaeology there to find out more about that in the future. And then we tie into the side door of the church, which is the only door in our church that doesn't have steps. So it's the closest thing we have to a handicapped church. We just have to change the threshold is the only thing, and put up an ADA sign. So the ramp is gravel based with brick on top. Here's a section showing you there's 2 different levels of a base, and one is 6 inches and one is 12 inches. The 12-inch section is where trucks would have to drive over to get to the front of the church door. And then we have a temporary ramps we use to bring things into the church. We did not want to put this along the Beverly Street section because that fence is different from the 1923 Sam Collins designs, which we just restored around the church, as well as the brick walls, the foundations and the piers. And that brick foundation and fence is here as an elevation of that. If you go back up one more, the actual drawing, So we propose to cut through the brick foundation. We'll use 2 different colors of brick that match the existing. We've already used those before in making patches on the walls we restored last year, which was a long-term maintenance issue. And then these walls will turn inward. Alan Weekly is our historic mason who will be building those. And then we have a 5 feet of flat area. And then we go into the actual brick path itself. I don't know. Is there anything else you need to know? The fence in the front we found a picture in the 1870s. It was already there, the metal fence, but this side fence is Sam Collins, 1923. So here are the photographs of the general area and location of those. We're trying to avoid the tree roots, as well as we have no graves we're aware of, but the archaeologists will be on site.
That roughly where it'll be cut in?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just around the corner it's actually on Church Street. And it's the shortest route to the door, and it has the least slope of any location we could find. It's not ideal because the sidewalks are steep, but as Rodney Rhodes told me, it's hard not to find a steep sidewalk in Staunton.
True. All right. Thank you. Mr. Strassler, would you like to add anything to your recommendation?
I think this project is amazingly thoroughly documented, and the wonderful thing is all of the work done with the archaeologists to do the ground penetrating radar and to understand where the historic resources are in the graves and things along that line. So this sidewalk addresses accessibility, and it addresses any concern for historic resources being disturbed.
Great.
I could add one thing. The Department of Historic Resources has already approved this ramp for the grant purposes. We have to give them drawings and descriptions for each project. And we got 516,000. We've matched it with 850,000. So we have a lot more projects to do, mostly exterior now, masonry issues and big moisture issues, which are affecting all three buildings. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Commission members, do you have any other questions or any discussion? Not, do we have a motion?
I'll do. I move for approval of the certificate of appropriateness. The site has been professionally recorded and assessed by archaeologists to ensure graves and other resources will not be disturbed. While the historic fence and retaining wall will be altered, the overall character of the site will not be compromised. The new accessible walk is compatible in terms of materials, scales, and placement. I cite in the city guidelines, E, possible accessibility solutions, A and B, and the Secretary of Interior's standards at under building site and alterations and additions for a new use.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you very much. We're supposed to have this done by July 4th. So
Okay.
thanks.
Shouldn't be that.
All right. And then our last item under new business is a certificate of appropriateness for the Cabell Log House at 654 East Beverly. Mr. Strassler and company.
Good afternoon. I'm Frank Strassler, Executive Director of Historic Staunton Foundation. And this is Otto. And normally I would not bring him to a meeting, but I was babysitting today. So I guess you can see in the black and white photo there. Of course, I sent Linda some color ones at the last minute, sorry. There is a modern sidewalk or entry walk that goes in front of the Cabell House. And while I was trying very hard not to remove that walk, just because it's another chore, we have found that the tree that many of you are familiar with, that was in the 1897 photograph and recently taken down because it was dead, all of the roots extend underneath that and under into the house. And in order for us to establish the necessary drainage to get the moisture away from the intended foundation or foundation piers under that house, I've got to remove that sidewalk so that we can accomplish those things. Again, it is not the type of sidewalk that you would see where we have worked hard to retain textured and fine aggregate surface sidewalks. This is a modern, probably 1980s, would be my guess 87, maybe 89 period sidewalk, and in fairly poor condition. You can see what the salt has done to it there at the front door. It's about 4 inches thick, and we will remove it and then decide on what its replacement will be based on our historic structure report. The 1897 photograph indicates there was a boardwalk there. And that's it. And you
Okay.
can see, for your viewing pleasure, and some night when you can't fall asleep, you can read that diagram. I spent a day going through that photograph, labeling every architectural detail and material that I possibly could. It's quite fascinating, actually.
Right. Yeah, very cool. Commission members, do you have any questions? Right. Do we have a motion? I know we're fascinated about the photos and the dogs and the dogs in the photo.
I'll do it if you-
Please, that'd be great.
I move the certificate of appropriateness be approved as submitted. The existing sidewalk leading to the house and side yard consists of modern poured concrete, diverting moisture towards the house, the log house, contributing to deterioration. The walk is not historic pattern concrete. I'm citing from the guidelines 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9.
Great. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
You, any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 And chair votes aye.
Thank you very much.
You. All right. Is there any other old or new business? Okay. All right. If not, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Right.